Good evening, everybody. This is Ryan Miller from Parent Dome, where I speak about keeping kids safe in a digitally immersed life. And this is actually a fun and interesting broadcast because I've got three things going on at the same time. So I am broadcasting a live Periscope. I have a session running live in Blab. And I also have it, if you want to see it on a big screen on a TV, you can turn into nissancommunications.com. So you've got me live on Periscope. I've got an audience that's watching at Nissan Communications, and you can also come participate on Blab. Andrew Page is back. I'm so thankful that you're here, Andrew, and that was a beautiful, beautiful message you did this afternoon. And the audience on Nissan Communications isn't aware of what's happening in the Periscope, so I have to do some of the Periscope things for people to know. So yes, no doubt, Trevor. So what I've got here is a terms of service on how I manage my broadcasts on Periscope. People know that if they click on the little Perry dude on Periscope, it opens up my profile. And in my profile, I have this bit.ly link. This bit.ly link is a video of the terms of service, which is the code of conduct on which I manage my broadcasts on live streaming platforms. It sets forth that there is no profanity allowed. I ask for a contributory conversation that's back and forth. People dialogue with me through text. There are people commenting with me right now, and I'm thankful for those people that have come in. Trevor, it's good to see you. Andrew Page is back. Good evening, Ryan. So I have the terms of service. This outlines the behavior and what happens if people violate that behavior, and that winds up going on my wall, which is behind the curtains. Second of all, because my audience is diverse, I deal with adults, I deal with grandparents, I deal with children. Particle, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. When I'm dealing with children, okay, sorry, this is one that I just need to do at this time. That was, when I have certain things that participate in my scopes, I do have to exercise what's called a block, and I need to remove those people from the conversation. That is in accordance with my terms of service. So this other one here is a PDF download to a crisis forum, because in dealing in social media, there are people out there that are in a lot of pain. And this pain is manifest by disruptive, inappropriate behavior, but sometimes the pain is so hard that they're reaching out for help. And when people reach out for help, this platform is not a therapeutic one. And these are people that are in real crisis, that they need access to crisis right away. So I provide this bit.ly link for them to download if they're about to cause self-harm, and they're afraid to go to their parents, afraid to go to their neighbor or a teacher or a youth group leader, whatever. I give them access to this. And sadly, this document has been downloaded too many times, more than I care to count. So I make this available to my Periscope audience and also to Nissan Communications. Now this one's a new one. Because as we participate on social media, we see stuff that is dangerous. That when we are navigating the Periscope, people know what I'm talking about. When we visit different broadcasts, we can see stuff with our own eyes, that is dangerous. So I ask people that if they see one of those broadcasts and they know what to discern as being inappropriate, that they swipe up and they tweet this out on Twitter and they back out the words and they type in this hashtag. And on Twitter, this hashtag, this is my hashtag. I have a couple of hashtags, but this one here gives me a list of that stuff that's happening on people's broadcasts that something needs to be done about. And I take care and action relative to these broadcasts. Right now, there's about 15 broadcasts of kids being periscoped or live streamed in school. Parents aren't aware that teachers are broadcasting them live streaming in school. There's a growing list of schools that need to be notified of this behavior happening. This is not students periscoping or broadcasting in school. This is teachers actually broadcasting. So I want to put this back up again, that I will be on Periscope as I am right now. And I'm sorry I've missed some of the comments coming through, and I will get back to that in just a moment. So we have Nissan Communications, if you want to watch it on a big screen. Blab, which has got another platform for the communication, and right here. Mac Patches, good to see you, my friend. First of all, can I ask how many of you guys are at Periscope Summit and or have watched the broadcasts at Periscope Summit? So if you are at Periscope Summit, put a number 1. If you're watching or have seen some of the scopes at Periscope Summit, put in the number 2. That would be awesome. I'm going to see it. I don't think many of my followers are actually, they've watched it. Yes. Okay. So people have been watching some of the live streams that have been coming out of Periscope Summit. And one of the things that I did, several of my friends who broadcast on Periscope were going out to the event. Okay, Mac, I appreciate that. Mac was saying that he was having a tough time with the communication, and he said he's going to be right back. So sorry, I didn't mean to dovetail on that. So I had friends that were going out to Periscope Summit, and I asked them if they could do me a favor, because they know I'm an advocate for keeping kids safe on the internet, and that I speak to different groups on Periscopes. There's a group called Scopers Against Cyberbullying, where I speak with them, I interact with that group. This is a group of people that are receiving a tremendous amount of cyberbullying online, and that I help them and I interact with them and how to engage those people. I talk about my terms of service, and I talk about how to treat people in this communication. So that leads me up to my next hashtag, which is right behind me. I don't know if my Nissan audience can see it, but it says Blocked Lives Matter. So if you are violating my terms of service, you may receive a block, but that is not, you're not going to jail. But those people I interact with to get them the help that they need. Because I always say that this behavior that is disruptive and or vulgar or profane on the social media platform is an outward manifestation of pain. And then it comes back down and it's masking a deeper pain. Many times that pain is a desire for attention that they are not getting from other places in their lives. So when people on this particular platform, such as Periscope, and people are blocking, they're out of sight, out of mind. And that's not what happens here. That when those people, I talk to them about their behavior, I give them the opportunity to change what they're talking about, be a contribution. But if they make it over here, they go through my process. So I'm gonna do a little peek behind the curtain. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. Bobby, if I blocked you by accident, but if that is Ryan, I did block you on purpose. So if you're coming back in under a different name. Okay, so there is a reason. You're telling me we're going. So right now I'm interacting with the person that has been previously disruptive. He has had some, made some poor choices relative to some things that he has done on other social media platforms. He had been blocked from social media platforms. I don't know what his parents are doing, but this is a minor child in my broadcast right now who is 16. And I've tried to reach out to the parents to offer help, but every time I block, he keeps coming back into the broadcast. So Ryan, this is an issue between you and your parents. This is not, my messaging is to parents. You have made some poor choices. I am not your disciplinarian, but I cannot have you being disruptive in my broadcasts anymore. So I made myself available to talk to your parents. I've given your parents tools and resources, but this is between you and them, not me. I'm not your parent. So behind here is how I deal with this disruptive behavior that comes into my broadcasts. And the blue notes represent various levels of disruptive behavior. Majority of it is profane, vulgar. Some of it is even more elevated, and Nissan Communications Group has heard this before. I've showed this before, that I've had people come into my broadcast that said, it doesn't matter what you say, Ryan, about the children, we are going to get the children. These are people that have expressed to me directly that they have an interest in getting children. Now, the internet, there's no way to verify what is true or not. There's no basis because it's got this veil of anonymity. Well, my terms of service say I remove that anonymity. And when you've gotten to this place and you are into my process, I remove the anonymity and I go and I do the due diligence and research. It is sick. It is sick. That's my worldview. Not everybody believes that that is an inappropriate behavior. I'm sorry I don't speak Russian. If you want to contribute, you can use with English. If not, you can sit and listen. So I've done the research on all of these people back here. I've sent out emails and I've sent them evidence of their own behavior on my broadcast. And these individuals, when I was doing my research, had evidence that validated their claims. Okay, that's very good. Thanks I appreciate that. I appreciate you respecting my terms of service. It's very nice.
Hey, Ryan.
So, yes, sir.
If somebody wants to jump in a seat on Blab, will you take them?
Sure, I will.
Okay, keep going.
Sure. So I was just asked if somebody wanted to take a seat when they went into Blab, could they take a seat and ask me questions, which is a totally fine thing to do. So I welcome you to do that because that's more interactive. That's kind of what I want to do, is to get more interactive in the discussion. So let me do a couple of ways that you can communicate with me that's more interactive than texting. So there's one, which is, let me do this. This might be even better. Bear with me for 1 second. So if you see that there, you can call 919-518-9773, or you can come in via Skype at Computers 2K Voice. That is the way you can come in and interact if you're watching on TV. If you want to go in on Blab, you just go into the Blab forum. Amnon will let you take a seat and we can have a conversation that way. He will filter questions back and forth with me. Yes, he is. Nissan is fantastic. He is absolutely, Amnon at Nissan is supporting my message here. Lovely man. So when I was doing my research in the background and the digging on those people that said, no matter what you say, Ryan, we're going to get those kids, they had digital footprints and digital tattoos, those permanent markers of what they are doing on the internet. And it revealed that what their claims were, that they had evidence that supported that claim, that I saw libraries and archives and links, that some of the stuff I knew was bad and I wasn't going to click it. But I gathered my research and I took that research and I sent it to the appropriate social media outlets. So if I found it on Facebook, I sent it to Facebook. If I found it on YouTube, I sent it to YouTube. If I found it on Twitter, I sent it to Twitter. And if I found it on Periscope, I sent it to Periscope. Well, all of those entities were non-responsive. They did not take any action. My persistence and follow-up, they took no action. So I gathered all that data and I put it in a package and I gave it to federal law enforcement. Federal law enforcement, because we're dealing with interstate communication, not intrastate. So when it's intrastate, you deal with the state. When it's interstate, I was dealing with the feds. So I give it to the feds, a couple of different departments within the feds, because I got jumped around a little bit. They now have data. They do their own research. They, in turn, based upon their research, have enough to go to a judge. The judge, they request for a warrant. No, they don't. Somebody made a comment that they never have time when it comes to kids. And it's a very sad truth that it's not a crime until the criminal is in your house. And it's not a crime for the child until there's actually been an injury, a pain, something bad. So that was a very true comment. But here I had enough evidence that the law enforcement were able to go and request a search warrant The judge signed off on the search warrant. Search warrant was served. Digital communications were confiscated. Material was taken back, investigated. Charges were filed. Lawsuit was served. And this is a metaphor, because I put the lines on it, that this is a person in prison. This is a person that has come into my single, lowly, little broadcast on Periscope, because this is where this is happening. It happened on Periscope. That I'm a man broadcasting about how to keep kids safe in a digitally immersed life. That's my passion. I'm trying to help bring awareness, to set up oversight, to set up controls to keep kids safe. And these people, all of these, are disruptive to that mission in my own broadcast. So I have plenty of evidence in my own broadcast, in my own world. But to share people the reality of this, the people that are on Periscope know this to be true. I don't have to convince them anything, because they're seeing it actually play out right now, that they're seeing things happen. Thank you so much, Raleigh. I appreciate that. Sorry, I'm not a parrot. I do not repeat quotes that happen on my Periscope. So if you want somebody to repeat something, I would suggest you start your own broadcast, and that way you can say whatever you want and people can respond to it. So that's a great approach to handle that. So these are the people that are now behind bars, and I'm going to put this black. Very good. Thank you very much. So if you took a look over here and you look at that side of the wall, I've been on Periscope for 3 months. The blue, I ran out of blue Post-it notes. The point, Xavier, is that I speak about keeping kids safe in a digitally immersed life. That's what I talk about. Talk about awareness, oversight, and controls. So the blues are disruptive, that were happening, that I needed to find a way to express that, and that is by no way, shape, or form a fair representation, because when I got into specific cases of trauma, the Post-it notes would fill up my wall. That this is that metaphor. So I ran out of blue Post-it notes and I transitioned to blue. The blue over here, the 6, all of those are in prison. Those are in jail. They have the research, paper served, brought before the judge, sentenced, they are in jail. In my lowly broadcast. I transitioned to orange over here because I had so many of them. Yes, I do have those coming in here quite a bit. The orange I transitioned to show the people that I broadcast to that each orange Post-it note has 10 names on it. And after every broadcast, I have to write these names down and take them through my process. So that's not up to date either. I also have a purple one over here, but I have not revealed what that purple is for. I have 2 more purples that I need to add up there, but I have not shared with that purple at this point. So my mission is about dealing with this behavior that's happening in all children. It's happening to everyone. It's immersed. But I prefer to change this. That is my own evidence. That is my own personal evidence based upon me speaking on this platform that demonstrates that I'm an adult and people will say whatever they want to adult. And I personally have the character, when I hear the words and see the words, that it doesn't affect me. I have no power associated with those words because they're not true. None of these people know me, and they can't put anything in truth into those words that come to me. But the Scopers ACB group that I support on Periscope are mature adults, but they have challenges that they don't have the ability, that those words don't hurt them. There are people that are acknowledging psychological challenges that require medication, that those words actually injure them, cause them depression, anxiety, stress. They can't eat, they can't sleep, and they are physically affected by that. I will keep my eye open up for that. So one of my broadcasters, so very good. So one of my broadcasters made the decision to block one of the people in my broadcast. So I took that effort as well, and I did the same thing because I couldn't respond as quickly as he did. So since it is happening to me, and I have the ability to resist it. There's another group of people which are adults that don't have the ability to resist it. There is another, the child, and I have no basis to, it could have been, yeah. Um, these children may not have the same value that I have, that place on those words to reject them. And all of this stuff that's happening over here is is mostly children. These are mostly male boys, male tween boys, teen and tween boys doing this behavior. And they think it's humorous. I say it's an outward masking of an inward pain. Mostly they're not getting the attention or love that they desire from their nuclear unit. But I'm trying to love these people because I know those aren't orphans. I know for certain they're not orphans. And even though I block them, I interact with them. And I do have a yellow Post-it note up there. And that yellow Post-it note is when I interact with them, people make another decision, that they are aware. And in my broadcast right now, I keep saying, Andrew Page is back. Andrew Page is, I think, a 15 or 16 or 17-year-old young boy. He found me on Periscope. He's a young kid in high school up in Canada. 15, Andrew, you're the same age as my daughter, man. And he found me on Periscope, and he has been listening to me. He's been listening with his parents. He is now making his own broadcasts, but he's sharing those with his parents. But he is now taking some of the things that I talk about how to handle blocking and how to react to that and not to give those words power in his own. He's taking it upon himself in his own words, which is a beautiful thing to me. I don't own any of that. I'm not his parents. I am so not his parents. But the fact that he has another voice speaking into him with this kind of experience, with an understanding of the depth, breadth, and complexity of what's going on. But here's the other thing. Andrew is 15 and he's in school. He hears my message and he says to his friends, hey, you need to listen to this guy. And then he invites a friend into this broadcast, and his friend, a young girl, comes in and she's listening to me, and he says, Ryan, can you show her behind the curtain? I'm like, I really don't want to. And he says, no, you really need to show her behind the curtain. And I'm talking to a kid. So when I pull the curtain back for a kid, they know immediately what I'm talking about. There is no denial. And if I were to ask Andrew and the other friends that he has, I believe Andrew has a good relationship with his parents because it sounds like it's open, honest, and transparent. But some other kids don't have that kind of relationship with their parent. And I would ask Andrew and ask his friends, do you think your parents would want to know what's going on back here? Do you think your kids would want to know what's happening behind your parents to know so that they can keep you safe? Or do you think you can handle that all on your own? And I'm thinking that Andrew would say, it would be hard for me to go to my parents, and I don't know how to deal with this. And I'm thankful he came in contact with me because now he has a tool for how to deal with that. And his parents are gaining access to that information as well. So that's my mission here, that I do it on multiple platforms. Right now I'm dealing with the Periscope audience, the Nissan Communications, and I'm also talking on Blab. And that I am a contrarian completely on social media communication, completely, because I say there is no morals, there are no ethics when you are in a social media experience which is shielded by anonymity. You do have power, you can control how you block, but these platforms, both of them, all of them, let me rephrase that, Meerkat, Periscope, Blab, Meevee, Ustream, YouTube, Livestream, Go Live with Me, Uvu, Skype. I know I'm missing a couple more. All have terms of service which are for 13 years old. You only need to be 13 years old to go on these platforms. The legal relationship between all of these platforms is they indemnify themselves. Periscope indemnifies themselves, Meerkat, Blab, everybody puts themselves at no legal exposure. the comment is so much hate and people trying to do harm to kids, and it's kids also doing harm to kids. It's adults doing harm to kids because there is this veil of anonymity. But this 13-year-old age requirement, it's kind of an FCC thing. John Kolesuk, don't know who that is, but greetings, thanks for coming in. That all of those social media platforms or live streaming platforms have that age, and it's an FCC requirement that they're passing through. But they create a distance that the legal responsibility is tied to who clicks that. I agree. When I was talking to the people on these social media platforms, how do you verify that the age of somebody when they click? They say, we don't. We know that it has to have the parents' approval for them to come in. I said, how do you verify that? He said, we're just doing it to be consistent with all the other social media platforms. John, I'll just draw your attention to my terms of service that you can sit and listen, you can participate and contribute. If you're going to be off topic, you can click here on my little Perry dude. You can go to the terms of service and listen to that. Come back in after you've had an understanding as to how I handle communication in my broadcast. So thank you very much for doing that.
Brian.
Yes, sir.
Lorian Gamer is saying on Blab, that doesn't apply to Skype. It's not a social media platform. It's a communication platform.
So that's a very interesting point. It is a communication platform. These are all communication platforms. Lori is making a very good point. They are all communication platforms, but how people use them varies. The social media platform, hold on one second. Was this scope the other day, a 13-year-old, and they're, yeah, I'm sorry, there was just somebody made a comment about a 13-year-old was being interacted with an adult and it was going down an inappropriate path. So that's just somebody that came into my Periscope and just made that comment. So Lori, the various platforms that I mentioned, YouTube, Ustream, Livestream, Uvu, Zoom, Appear, I mean, there's a host of them. And that there's a thing, what kids are doing on Skype are called Skype sleepovers or Uvu sleepovers. But there are people that are using these live streaming platforms that parents are not aware of how it is being used. And that's me getting into more detail on how people are utilizing these platforms to exploit children, to extort money from children and adults. And there's all types of things that are happening. So I'm hoping that's answering your question, Lori, but they're not social media. That's correct. These are not necessarily social media. They're live streaming platforms that I put in that umbrella. So that was probably an inappropriate clarification or qualification. So here's an example that what is happening right now in droves at this time. At this time now until 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going to see broadcasts open up on these live streaming platforms such as Meebee, Periscope, and Meerkat. And what happens, there is going to be a young woman that will be dressed in a very alluring way. And in that alluring way, she is going to be attracting people to see her, and she will do things which are very provocative and enticing and alluring to draw men into this experience. She is not naked, but she is wearing very much close to nothing. And she has other apparatus around her to excite her male audience. She will let people know that if you want to see something more, and she says there's something more that she is going to do, that you go to my PayPal account, you deposit X amount of money into my PayPal account, I will go over and start a new show and do it in private. This is, at the nighttime hours, what is happening. That it is happening at an alarming rate. So it's basically a 900 number in video that you can go into a platform which is open to teens. Oh yes, they totally charge money. That people are said, then they try to charge money. No, they won't. You won't be able to get into the private broadcast until the PayPal account has been pinged with your deposit. There are what people are representing themselves as college girls in there that are willing to John, I know who you are. I'm sorry. You came back underneath of it, another alias, and I'm not that easily fooled. So I appreciate your attempts. I am going to ignore you. Um, the young girls are in there saying, help me pay for my college education, $25, and I'll send you a 5-minute video. And this is happening. And in my broadcast, every single one of my broadcasts, when I conclude, I have to go into my recent followers and I have to remove anywhere from 10 to 50 people that are now trying to attach to my account that want me to follow them and offer that service. I had to do another block. It is a video. Somebody just made a statement that Raleigh said that it's becoming a video escort site. And that is happening. But that's what's happening with women, and you have no idea the age of the audience. So some kids have credit card access on their phone, so they have Uber accounts, so they have a PayPal account. So some kids have access to do this stuff without their parents' knowledge. But if not, the accounts have a way to help the kids in a different way, not for financial transaction. But then there is the same thing that is happening in the predator community. You have a broadcaster, a young child broadcasting, and they start grooming that young broadcaster. They try to form an alliance with them, form a defender relationship. And this is something I don't want to talk about the psychology of a predator, but these are very crafty people. And if those that go into Periscope and they sit as an observer and watch this happen, they can pick it out because it's an adult acting in an inappropriate way. Yes, so Raleigh made another comment that he was in a Periscope, that he saw that there was a woman broadcasting, that she was pleasuring herself. I'm trying to be politically correct, and that there were young kids in that broadcast. And this is one of the things, when I talk about how people get a sense of value, a sense of self-esteem, I refer to external identity locus. So let me hit a pause button here because I want to make this point. If you want to see this on big screen, you can go to nissancommunications.com. If you want to participate in another form of communication and see it video, you can go to blab.im. You have me here on Periscope. If you want to dial in, you can do that at 919-518-9773, or you can come in via Skype at Computers2K Voice. Andrew Page, welcome back. And that's via Skype. You can come in at Computers2K Voice. So for adults that participate on social media, to the extent that maybe not as much as I do, but those that are aware of these live streaming platforms know what's going on behind my curtain. They have first-time real-hand evidence. And if I continue to read the comments, these people are continuing to validate what I am saying based upon their own experience. And on Periscope right now, there's around 40 million people who are connected to Periscope. Raleigh just said, and she did not care after I told her that there were as many kids there and not to be a mother. I don't think I said that right. There's 40 million people connected to Periscope. Of those 40 million people, there are 100,000 people like me that are standing, sitting, and communicating on Periscope. Of those 100,000 people, it breaks down into what kind of communication that they are doing. She said she was not the kid's mother. You know, I'm gonna springboard off of this because Raleigh just made a good point, and I want to share something that happened with last weekend. My Periscope audience knows that during hours I go and I do some recon to help protect the kids that are out there unaware. And I wound up going into a house that they had the location settings on. It was in Tennessee, and it was an 8-year-old girl and 11-year-old boy twins. And they're live streaming. And I'm like, oh, whoa, you got your location settings on. Where are your parents? My parents aren't here. They're out. It's like, are you home alone? No, our babysitters are here. I'm like, you're kidding me. So I'm having a communication with them, and I'm letting them know how dangerous this is. And they wound up turning me off because they got scared, which rightfully, I did want to get them scared because this is a dangerous thing they're messing with. And there are some creepos in there talking to them that they had no knowledge of. So I go back in the blue on the red globe, and I find that at the same place that they were broadcasting that I got blocked are the babysitters periscoping. So there was 2 teenage girls babysitting these young kids, but they're laying down in bed periscoping themselves. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. You got the kids over here broadcasting live, the babysitters are broadcasting live. So I started communicating with the babysitters and I said, oh, do me a favor. Go in and tell the kids who you're talking with right now. Let them know who you're talking to, because they just blocked me a minute ago, and let them know that this guy came in on this broadcast. So when the girls took their phone and they went out and they said, hey, I'm talking to this guy, they said, get him off, get him off. And I said, don't get me off yet. Understand I'm here to keep you safe, and you had no idea who I was. You have your location settings on. First thing, just turn your location settings off, because you're just telling everybody this is where I live and this is the inside of what I have. And oh, by the way, no parents are home. So that's what I do on the advocacy side, trying to draw awareness to this. The people that are on this live streaming platform resonate with everything I say. And my message is, yeah, where are you at? Right. Well, right now you don't know where I'm at, because where am I broadcasting from now? I think I'm in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. That's where people see me. I wanted to go skiing this weekend, so that's where I'm broadcasting from. People are asking me, how do I change where I'm broadcasting from? That is a function that is available on Android devices that's not available on iOS devices. It's only an Android function. So continuing on a little bit, adults know this stuff is happening. My audience know this is happening. I don't need to exemplify this for anybody that communicates with me on Periscope. They just know that it's happening. Uh-oh, I think I'm freezing. So I put a curtain up here. I just lost my Periscope. Sorry about that. So I put a curtain up here that represents, I'm actually going to turn that back on because I had a full room. So bear with me 1 second, because that was rather interactive and I had a bunch of people in there. And this is one of the limitations of a social media platform, that sometimes it does go down.
While you're doing this, I'll tell you, Lori was saying, I was telling Lori that more pedophiles were caught after connecting with kids on Skype after they connected with them on other networks. And she's saying that might be true, but you can't stop that. You can only educate children and use report tools, etc.
Well,
which I told her that, yeah, that's correct, and that you advocate that too.
Well, that's actually not a true statement.
Okay.
Because there is a way to stop that. There are many ways to stop that. But those conversations are hard ones to have. I'm sorry, 1 second. There we go. I think I got it back. Yeah, there's multiple things. I mean, it's like saying you can't stop what a kid is doing on their text. And that's true. You can't stop what a kid's doing on their text, but you can have an involvement in a relationship and an oversight as to what they're texting. So you have an evidence as to what their behavior is. If you're going to let a child get on Skype and allow them to, and not have any oversight on what they're doing on Skype, then you're right. You can't stop it. If you give them that kind of freedom to explore that way, then how you doing, Mark? Then that is a byproduct. So Mark, if you just came in, I'm doing multiple broadcasts right now. I'm doing one on Nissan Communications. I'm doing my Periscope, and I'm also on Blab. So I've got a couple of things happening at the same time. So I have some new people joining up based upon how I changed the title. So I have decided that because of my, yes, exactly right, I am multitasking, because the Periscope audience knows about what's happening behind that curtain, I decided to put the curtain there, and I don't need to keep talking about that. I did talk about it here as in the bridge in the conversation, but that is closed. And then I'm taking the approach, which I've always had in my heart, but it has come out of one that's been that people perceive it as judgmental, and that is not my goal at all. This has no judgment. That we do the best we can at the time with what we have. You can't be held accountable for what we don't know. I don't know what I don't know, but I'm on a quest for knowledge. And then when I get this new knowledge, I have new awareness, then I have other things that I need to do. Sam, good to see you. So my message is about speaking life, speaking love, speaking hope. In this digitally immersed life, absent of certain disciplines, our children are at risk to what's behind that curtain. That is a risk. And if they have the mental and the self-confidence to not allow those words to harm them, good to see you, Randall. I hope you're having fun at Periscope Summit. If they have that strength to hold that and not have those words affect them, then that won't be a big problem. But when this gets so overwhelming, it may be pulling a child off course. And I say as parents, if we have this wisdom and awareness, that we can get them before they go off course. So in the instance of a Skype, if we give them the latitude to have access to a live streaming platform at night without supervision, not knowing who they may be speaking to on that Skype, that could be a person pulling them in a different direction. And again, from a non-judgmental perspective, I say that is completely appropriate if that's what your family dynamic is. I don't want to say whether that's good or bad. I say for my life, relative to what I want for my child, I don't want to put that temptation at her hands that she could be in bed at night with a live streaming channel, that a young boy that she would be communicating with could tempt her to do something or force or guilt her into do something. That's just a risk I'm not willing to take. That's just me. That is no value judgment on anybody else as to how they want to do it. And it's kind of an on-standing joke when you're a father of a daughter. It's easier to build a child than to fix an adult. What a beautiful quote. That came from Randall K. Harp. That was a beautiful quote, Randall. So Randall, just so you know, I don't know if you heard this already, I'm doing a multitask session here. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff going at the same time. So I have a blab running in the background right now with Amnon Nissan Communications. I see Mac Patches on a couple of platforms. He's on Nissan right now, and he's on Periscope. and I also have where did I put that Post-it note? I lost it.
While you're looking for it, Ask
Yep.
Mama Louise is saying, I thought you had to be 17 to get on Periscope.
No, 13. Periscope is 13. Meerkat is 13. YouTube is 13. Most of the platforms are 13.
Yeah, she's saying, wow.
Well, what's even crazier, that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything because there's 9-year-olds getting on Periscope because the parent, that terms of service agreement doesn't mean anything because nobody reads the terms of service when they click and I agree. They don't know what the age is. But there are 9-year-olds, 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds. I have a friend that's in this broadcast. I don't know if he's still here, Trevor. Trevor is a man. He has a young child. And Trevor broadcasts, he periscopes, and he shows his son playing Minecraft on TV. The child does not broadcast at all. He shares him. Oh, thank you so much. We'll see you later. He shows his son playing Minecraft. It's a teaching tool. I love it. But that, according to the terms of service, he shouldn't be on the broadcast. But that's a parent's decision because the contractual responsibility lies with the parent, not with the child. Girls under 11 are on here late at night and will, with their location names and all kinds of scary info. That was a comment that came in that there are people that are validating that there are 11-year-olds, 10-year-olds. I know there's for a fact, an 11-year-old that does 15 broadcasts a day of crazy broadcasts. And no parents know this. Her parents don't know it. Most parents don't know what's happening back here or on Periscope. They don't understand that the terms of service, and the terms of service are not a barrier for anything. they aren't a barrier. They aren't a stop. That if you're 13, you can't get on this application. That's not the case. A kid has a phone. They download an application. They click I agree, and away they go. And whether the parent sees it there or not doesn't mean it's not there, because we also know that the kids are hiding the applications inside of what are called vault applications. Girls getting asked to show themselves. Jamie, you're absolutely right. And let me just do this again. Let me come back to here. For those people that are sharing those kind of comments right now, that are seeing that inappropriate behavior where the girls are getting pulled into those dangerous spots, take that broadcast and swipe up or swipe left or right, hit the share on Twitter, back a couple of letters out, and put that hashtag in, put it in there, because I promise you those children aren't orphans. They're not. And I will do what I can to get it to the parents' attention. I will try to interact with that child and make them aware of the dangers and the risks of what they're doing and how that is a permanent mistake. That's something that they could do, will be there forever. Allie, good to see you with my friend. So I ask if you see that when you're reporting to me right now, that's great. And I am so aware of it. You know what's behind my curtain. But if you can put this in that hashtag, that way I can at least do something and hopefully get to the parents to get them. Jess, you're new. Greetings. Thanks for coming in. For those that are new, just coming into the broadcast for the first time, my name is Ryan Miller. I'm the founder of Parent Dome, where I speak about keeping kids safe in a digitally immersed life. I talk about awareness, oversight, and controls. Yes, I also deal with the education and the conversation. And what's behind all of this? I mean, I talk about this every single day. This account isn't connected to Twitter, though. So they don't have a Twitter account, so they're doing it online. That is, then just send me the URL. Send me that URL like you have done before. That I speak, it doesn't negate the need to have the conversation and talk about the education. But what's behind all of this? Can you put that up again on the screenshot of it? Oh, sure. I'm waiting for the camera to go up. There it is. You got it. So what happens, they take a screenshot of the image that I hold up, so they have a record of where to go to after the broadcast. Unfortunately, they can't interact on the screen. But what I'm standing on.
Ryan, before you
Yes.
go, before you get into the next thing,
Yep.
Lori went ahead and did some reading, and she said Skype terms of service say you cannot accept these terms if you are not of legal age. No age limit other than local legal age, i.e., 18 in most countries.
So, and I'm not.
But I never knew that stopped the 9-year-old from doing it and say, yeah, I accept.
So, and that's okay, and I appreciate her doing that research to see what the age is for Skype, and I will make that modification based upon what she just read there. But my question is, how do they verify the age of somebody when they download the app? That's the question, Lori. The question is, how does the software know how old the person is it's downloading it and using it? And that's where the legal contract is honestly with the parent. So let me, I'm going to take 2 steps on that, but I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to address that from a legal standpoint. So kids lie. Everybody lies. The lie does not discriminate anybody. Everybody lies. Andrew's back. So one is, I've done a tremendous amount of research on this topic, and I have evidence behind me as to what this behavior is. So that's the one thing. All that research was derived through countless thousands of hours of research with various professionals. Very good. Randall said even adults don't read the terms of service. The woman just admitted my daughter is on Skype and she is 12. So all of that research culminated into me providing documentation. Now that documentation was driven from me doing countless presentations to people, to groups and organizations. They would ask me questions. I'm like, holy smokes, I do an hour presentation, but I got 5 hours worth of questions afterwards. I will address that in just one second, Monica. So I took all of that research and I put it into a concise website which is called parentdome.com, which is an educational platform which is designed to be a support to the parents. That this has got all of the internet connected dangers, risks, threats, solutions, strategies, app reviews, gives you access to the research data. So that's what I'm pulling out of my arsenal to be talking about. So I want to go real quick because I'm running short on time, and I want to talk about the legality of terms of service. There's, first of all, in the US, I could be talking to many countries, so I'm going to speak from US. You cannot enter into a contract with a minor, plain and simple. Contract law precludes you from entering into a contract with a minor. That is someone under the age of 18. All internet service connections, whether they be on your smartphone or they be on your internet through your TV, that is a contract that's made with Verizon, Comcast, Cox, whomever, AT&T. That is also an adult contract. All of those terms of services are there for everybody to read, all 500 to 750,000 words of them. But now you have entered into a legal contract as you an adult and that pathway provider, whether it be on your smartphone or through your house. Internet, we'll call it that internet pipe. Anything that happens on that internet pipe is the legal responsibility of those holding the contract of that legal pipe, whether it be your phone, whether it be the computer. Now, I don't want this to sound too harsh, so I have to back off a little bit. So the terms of service mean nothing, because if you, who are owning the contract, and don't enforce the terms of service for the other applications, so if you have something that's a 13-year-old app and you have a 9-year-old on it, that's not the application's fault. That is not the application's fault. It's the parents' fault that they're not enforcing the terms of service of the things that they're allowing their children to download. And anything that's bad that happens on that, yes, there are certain things in the scheme of bad that can happen with the child that could be through video and or photographs, and it could be a legal problem for them. Laws are changing a little bit regarding sexting, that they are becoming misdemeanors. They're still felony for certain things. But the real contract risk comes to the parent because they broke the law. The parents are now they have a contract as to what that pathway of communication is going to come. These people over here were adults transmitting and distributing inappropriate images. The only difference between a parent and their child sending a sext image and these people is the gratuitousness of this and the age of this. That's the only difference. Because if your child is sending sexting pictures or videos or does a live stream record of what's happening and it is sexual in nature, child will be punished. They will get, the laws I've said are changing, will be a misdemeanor. But unfortunately, our legal system doesn't drop it off there. Our legal system is going to go after the adults that allowed that to happen. And these people, these are the bad people. Unfortunately, parents aren't bad people. I'm not sure what that question was. Something about me talking to a child one-on-one. I don't know what that meant. In this live streaming platform, there is no guidelines as to who talks to whom. There are no rules, ethics, or morals as to who can talk to anybody. Somebody asked me a question, it's asked me something about how I have the ability to talk to anyone. Terms of service don't identify who can talk to whom, what somebody has to be or not to be to engage in a dialogue. I stand here guilty as charged, communicating with kids that are doing this behavior to stop them from getting. Oh, the question is, are you a professional? Surely it shouldn't fall on you to have this dialogue. That's a fair statement, because there's a level of dialogue which I cannot get into. I am married to a clinician. I'm married to a mandated reporter. I have other people on my team that are those mandated reporters. I am on the cautionary side. But when it gets into the bad spot, I pull in the mandatory reporters. People don't understand this, but my broadcasts are viewed by many people. There's many different type of people that are inside my broadcast because of the nature of my mission. My goal is to keep kids safe on the internet. That's my goal. I want to talk to caregivers, parents, about awareness, oversight, and control on how to keep their kids safe. There's a whole other side of this world that I have found that doesn't want that message out, so they have a fine crop of inventory that they can put into their pipeline. And those people are coming into my broadcast repeatedly. And they are okay with this disruptive behavior. And I understand that that disruptive behavior is part of the adolescence and changing and shifting and experimenting and testing and exploring. That's all fine and good. But at the other side, I say that there is some pain attached to that. So I kind of was going all over. This was like an ADD episode for me today. So I apologize for that because I'm doing 3 things at once. But my message comes down to the same, that it's about keeping kids safe on the internet. This is one platform I use to communicate on Periscope. I use Nissan for this as well. I'm in the Blab environment as well. I do conversations, discussions in the Blab rooms. I facilitate discussion there. And it's all based upon me trying to help parents proactively protect their kids, non-judgmental. I am trying to reach my hand out to parents and say, listen, we don't know what we don't know. And I just want to speak love, speak life, and speak hope into those children like Andrew Page, who's been in and out of this room a couple of times. And he's inviting his young teen friends to hear me because they see this happening themselves. And I'm a sense of reason to help them navigate this path. Some of them are going to have their parents involved in this conversation. The majority of them are not. So I will stand guilty as charged in having conversation with these kids to keep them safe, because these kids feel like they're orphans. They're not orphans, but they feel like it because the kid doesn't want to go ask their parent for their help. And I totally get that, but they want the parents to help. So I'm going to wrap this up. I think I've gone a little over. I apologize for that, Amnon. Is there any questions that are coming in?
You keep going if you want to.
Okay. I think I'm okay with my Periscope, guys. Do you have any questions for me? Open books, meow. Greetings to you. I didn't catch everybody coming in because I was doing the other broadcast too, so my apologies for that. Thank you, everybody, for the hearts, for the recognition. I appreciate that. Thanks for the follows and the shares. You guys know that I don't ask for that. I don't, because I know my message isn't for everybody, and I'm not the traditional Periscoper. Thank you, Ali. I appreciate that. That I'm not asking people to share this to everybody, because not everybody wants to hear this message. And that if you find people that you know that this message goes with, you'll invite them on your own accord. So I don't feel I need to ask for that. So thank you very much for tonight. Everybody have a great night. Have a great weekend. I'm going to say goodnight to my Periscope audience. Randall, thank you very much. Blessings to you, my friend. You are actually a big support to me, whether you know it or not. My just reaching out to you and just communicating with you is a lift me up thing. So thank you for your support, even though you don't know it. So I'm gonna tag out here. Jamie, thank you so much.
Ryan,
Yes, sir.
Lori is asking, where can people contact you directly if they need help?
Great question. So let me write it down. Lori, I'm answering your question. That was good. You made me laugh. So there's a social media platform. It's called appear.in. Can you see that, Amnon? It's called appear.in. It works best on Chrome. I don't believe you have to download anything. It also works on a cell phone. It is a video-based communication that I can have one up to 8 people in that room. So I prefer not to have if you're a single parent, I welcome that.
Ryan,
Absolutely.
I think she's asking how to get in touch with you.
that's that. I'm going to give her the ability
Okay.
to talk.
Okay.
This is you. If you should I go over into blab at this point, Amnon?
Actually, I tell you what. Finish the show. Let's finish the show and stop recording it here, and then we can stay on Blab. So, Lori, stay in Blab. Go ahead.
Okay.
Finish the
Very
show.
good. So very good. Thank you everybody for coming in tonight. It was a little different show. It's about keeping kids safe on the internet. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend, and I will see you next Friday night. Take care.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, My Life, My Will with Gisela DiCarlo, The Tanya Love Show, Health Then with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Triangle Be Well with Howard Jacobson, Lunch and Learn with Rabbi Yisrael Cutler, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, Parent Dome with Ryan Miller, Current Affairs with Amnon Nissan. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.